You know what we're going to talk about, because that's the most important thing going on today. All right, Joe. Wolf on Nvidia. Rarely has there been a single stock with such importance. As long as it tops expectations, they say, Nvidia is likely to remain a key tailwind for the overall U.S. stock market. Are they going to live up to the hype?
Do we really think that one quarterly report, even if they miss, is going to motivate investors to remove this company as a core holding in a portfolio?
No, no one's
this
saying
is an anchor. This is the anchor.
No one's going to say, oh, they're going to miss. You're going to sell it. I don't buy that one bit.
Absolutely.
I do think, though, that if they miss, the stock could go down a lot, and the Nasdaq could go down 2%.
So they get the benefit of the doubt if it goes down. And yes, the stock market will go down if there's a miss. The bear argument is simple. Forget that they have to beat. They have to beat by how much? They have to beat by an exorbitant amount. Fundamentally, the bear argument is the Blackwell chip is coming out later in the year, and you've got customers that are going to hold back on spending in anticipation of Blackwell. The problem with all of that is twofold. And the reason why I actually think tonight I wouldn't be surprised to see this stock up 5 to 10%. From a perspective of positioning, April 19th, the stock goes down 10%. On what? The expectation that chip demand is weakening. What happens subsequent to that? All of the big technology, big technology companies report. They all report and they tell you what? We're going to be spending money. Meta, Alphabet, Amazon, all coming out. They say we're spending a ton of money. Stock rallies. During that period, what do we hear from the speculative and hedge fund community? They're cutting back positions in Nvidia and other big mega cap companies. And the option market is telling you right now it's skewed towards the put side. I actually think positioning is set up the right way where this stock continues to move higher and it goes above 1,000 tonight.
Okay. Jason Snipe, we're talking about the options market implying a plus or minus 8% move, plus or minus $186 billion worth of market cap.
Yep.
Nvidia represents 5.3% of the S&P 500 and 6.5% of the Nasdaq 100, just in case you're scoring at home, as to why this stock holds so much importance tonight.
Yeah, 100%, Scott. And guess what? Last quarter, options market implied a 13% move either way. So I think the volatility has come down a little bit. I think what's important to me is something that Joe alluded to in terms of the performance and the price action. The revenue guide was $24 billion for this quarter. I think the whisper number is around 26. So if they hit that or even come close to that, I think it's a blowout, obviously, and I think that's likely to happen. The other thing is I think about the AI race and folks holding back on the Blackwell chip that's going to be produced later on this year. When I think about the AI race, I don't think there'll be holdback on spending. I think folks will get into the H100s, even though it's not the most sophisticated chip. The more sophisticated one is obviously coming out later on this year. But I don't think that holds back anything, and I think that we'll see an explosive core this year. So this at the end of this evening.
Jimmy, earnings year over year expected to be up 410%. Revenue expected to be up 241%. Just gives you an idea of why the stock is where it is.
It certainly does. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And I think I mentioned this to you yesterday, Scott, but the earnings estimates for this quarter are 230% higher than they were 1 year ago. They're 20% higher than at the beginning of the year. Now, I think they will beat the earnings estimates. I think they will raise guidance. And my comment, rhetorically asked, is, does anyone disagree with that? I mean, in the world, I'm struggling to find a single person who's saying, no, they're going to miss. Joe, I heard your comments wonderfully made about what hedge funds have done and what put sellers have done. And I think, or put buyers rather, I think what they're saying is probably what I'm saying, which is that everybody expects a beat and a raise. I mean, this would have to be one heck of a quarter to beat lofty expectations. And I think there are some people, me included, who are saying it's probably all priced in. Now, I'm a holder of the shares, have about a 2% position. I expect that in the fullness of time through the end of this year, I'll probably double that. But I'm not buying it here today. That's my comment.
All right.
It's interesting because when people say it's already priced in, it's not already priced in.
Okay.
And the overwhelming majority of people, logically, when you look at Nvidia, you say to yourself, yeah, it's priced in already. But I don't know. This company you cannot bet against it from the perspective of holding a position.
I'm not betting against it. I do hold a position. I hear you. You're absolutely right that has been the history for several quarters.
You think
You'll
if
agree
they,
at some point that won't be the case?
You think if they,
that's fair.
You think if they hit the ball out of the park from a guidance standpoint that it's already priced in?
I don't think that's controversial. Yes, that is what I'm saying. I don't think it's controversial. It might be wrong. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, by no means am I saying sell the stock, for goodness sakes. No, if it goes down, I'll buy more.
No, I don't understand why you guys keep going with the sell the stock thing. No one's suggesting if they miss, you're going to sell the stock. Right. But that doesn't mean the stock is not going to go down. Why does it have to be like either they beat, oh, you stay in the stock, they miss, you sell the stock? No one's suggesting that.
Okay, no.
Who's thinking about selling the stock?
I may have been misreading what you were saying, what you were asking, but my point is I'm underweight this stock to where I want to be, to where I think I will be. I'm not buying it right here at $947 a share. That implies that I think I will get a lower price at which to buy it. I'm not talking about selling it. I mean, that's not in the cards. But what I am saying, and again, could very well be wrong, is that the expectations for this stock are incredibly lofty.
Well, which is why we asked Christina Partsenevelos to come here to Post 9 to tell us if they can live up to the hype. I mean, you know the story. You tell us about it all the time. Expectations keep going higher. CEO's a rock star, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
rock star
seems
clad
to.
In leather, various leather jackets,
everybody
over $2,000.
seems to think, right? It's like that commercial, like, you're not a rock star. This guy's a rock star, right? Don't act like a rock star.
At the GTC event not too long ago, he talked about filling out, entire stadium, and he did. And there were celebrities, a video, Ashton Kutcher walking out, all of these celebs going to see him. But I have points for all of you guys. So, CapEx spend, we care about that as a driver because 50% of data center revenue last quarter came from cloud hyperscalers. So that's why we always mention this number. We didn't talk about it, but Tesla is known to become a bigger customer this past quarter, so that should help drive it. AMD, they released their earnings first. They did raise their AI revenue guidance to $4 billion. So that is a good barometer for Nvidia, further strength going into that. And then this one's not mentioned too often, but there's a high correlation between Taiwanese chip exports and Nvidia sales, right? And so exports, recent report showed really some strong strength. And so that's, another reason to your question, Scott, why we see a driver. Now I want to just highlight some risks because you guys, you talked about demand being priced in. So, and I know you challenged that. I think estimates have come up quite a bit leading into this. Maybe not necessarily your guidance question, but that does mean, and if you're saying it's not priced in, you're not believing the hype about the hype theory, right?
Well, the other times over the last 18 months, if you thought all of this AI good news was priced in, other than a couple periods of pullback, I mean, you've kind of been wrong. Right?
Last summer was a pullback, though. To Jason, you said a blowout quarter, and then there was quite a pullback, and it had an outsized negative effect on the markets in the summer of last year.
Well, that's why we suggest that it holds so much importance tonight.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know that. Just you mentioned all the stats and the impact on the growth rate on the S&P 500, given the market cap and the growth. I think the key thing for NVIDIA and why everyone watching should really care, and not because you necessarily own it or it's in a fund that you have, but because the earnings potential for NVIDIA, it's climbed dramatically compared to other names. And so that weighs a lot when you factor in this company and its impact on markets. But you talked about April. Didn't the Fed, comments about the Fed, and you saw it tech all across the board, possibly no cuts and that whole debate. And so that played a role in NVIDIA shares as well.
But that's healthy. So you had the 10% positioning correction already, and I think that's a point of emphasis as you look forward, where the positioning is not as speculatively long as we thought. But I guess the question for tonight really comes down to, is the AI trend and the thesis surrounding AI still, levitating, still supported? Because I look at the recovery that we've had in this month, and it's all about corporate earnings, and it's corporate earnings growth from these technology companies. So I guess more than anything else, maybe what NVIDIA does tonight is it just validates what we're witnessing in corporate earnings more than an idiosyncratic story surrounding the stock itself.